Hello, hello. Well, if you watch my live stream that I did Saturday, where I worked on this journal spread right here, I think you will notice that I finished it. And what I added was these borders here. And since I don't want to keep you out of how I did it, I just chose to record it. So I'm gonna take you guys along on the sketching and whatnot. So enjoy watching. Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, on my last live stream I was working with my new watercolors that are the Kuretake Gansai Tampe Art Nouveau palette. Looks like this. And I was doing this page spread and I needed to do the borders, so you know, I'm working on them right now. And I was thinking, you know what, I would have loved to see how I did this, because you guys were following along on this page spread. So I thought that I was just gonna record it, even though that it's like nothing special. But I just want to take you guys along because I'm so bad at, you know, using my words to describe stuff. So I think a visual paint along would be much more interesting than to hear me try and tell you, you know, how I did the steps. I'm using a pen set from Faber-Castell and it's called 8-Pit Artist Pens, and it got a good selection of types of nibs. It's waterproof, so when I come over it with my wet brush doing some watercoloring, it will not like bleed out or fade out. I'm working in just a generic, very inexpensive sketchbook that I bought in something that I think it's like a dollar store actually. So it's not that special. Paper is not like super awesome. And last time I left you guys, I had these areas here sort of worked out, and then all of this here was blank. So I just looked on the internet. Like everything I do is totally inspired on images that I've seen on the internet. And these ladies here, everything about them, the color, the composition, everything is totally inspired by Alfonso Mucca's Art Nouveau wonderful paintings. I really adore this style. It's so new to me, so what I do when I'm learning things is monkey see, monkey do. I try to do my renditions, which are totally like freehand, loose style. I just want to get to know this style and basically doing sketches where I can get to the point where I have to put in colors, because that's what I'm aiming for. I really love watercoloring, so sometimes I skipped over where it's easiest for me. And one of the places right here where I'm skipping over is that I don't really use a ruler, because yeah, I used a ruler right here, you know, but right here I did not, because I think it's more approachable for me if it's just freehand drawn for some reason. But I looked online and got inspired to do this piece of border that I drew on deli paper, and then I simply just flipped them and traced them over. And it's just line work. So now, as you can see, what the hell is this, right? I didn't take that with me. I got an idea for that. I think I'm gonna watercolor here. But now I want to take this wonderful Pit Artist pen set and go in and thicken up some of the lines. Like for instance, okay, I gotta start one place. So let me just start here. What I would do is that I would just follow the curves, and then just like when you're doing brush lettering, you thicken up some of the areas that you selected. And the same rule that applies to mandalas, I think, should apply to this here. So whatever you did one place, you have to find that place and mirror it. And this is where the wonkiness of the tracing is just lovely, because it kind of takes the pressure away from me that everything have to be totally symmetric in a mirrored image. So I just like to work like this, but I have to say that one day, I think when I'm getting better at these kind of drawings, I would love to come back on a good piece of paper, like Arches or something, and then try and do that perfect masterpiece of the Art Nouveau inspired drawing. You know, that drawing that's gonna involve using rulers and perfectly mirrored line work. But as you can see, for me, this is a lot of line works. I'm not sure that I cut for this style. Like, some people love it, and I can totally see why, because it is beautiful when it's done really nice. Okay, that's from that. Look how I can't even talk and do this at the same time. But I can see how it kind of helps having a tumble marker or a brush nib when you're doing this, because otherwise you would sit with a tip and then oh my god, look how I'm losing my bearings constantly. You know what I'm thinking right now? I'm thinking, does this marker bleed through? No. I was lucky right there, right? No, it doesn't. Oh my god, could you imagine if I picked like an alcohol marker and it bled through like crazy? I would hate life. Okay, here we got a funky, fun one too. So that would be this one here, right? I love the different elements in these Art Nouveau pieces. There's something that's deviating from here to here. So I think I just have to wing it to bring it. There's like constantly something that's like not the same, but it's okay. Like if I can't even find it, I can just include it, you know. Okay, was that all, or should I? This one looks kind of weird. Okay, then I think these columns or pillars, it would look nice if they were a little fatter. The fun thing about this is that I don't have that reference picture, so I won't be knocking myself in the head because I'm unable to do a perfect rendition of an already existing line work. So there is this freedom, this very playful freedom in doing this. Only thing I have to be aware of is that I got 4 elements that somehow have to be a little bit cohesive when I'm done. Yeah, can you see how it just helps thickening up some lines? It's an awful lot of time to spend on a page spread. And that really brings up the argument, why do we work on crappy, inexpensive journals where we tend to spend a lot of time on each page spread? That's a whole argument in itself, right? Could I do something more about this up here? Yeah, like that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, I think now that I should switch pen and go to something more slim, like the smallest one in the package. And the finest nib here is a 0.3. And I think that I should somehow do some double line works, maybe up here. Yeah, I can totally feel how I mentally go into this. Can we call it a Zen zone? You know, that very quiet. Yeah, it is super relaxing. It's actually a bit difficult for me because I am recording this, so I don't want to move my sketchbook a ton because it's gonna bring confusion. So I can feel that it would be worth flipping and turning your book so that it's more natural for you to draw certain lines. I think I could need like a thin line down here, and this is where it would be nice if I've used a ruler, right? I know, but I promised one day when I get really keen on working in this style, I should try and make that the perfect drawing, the perfect sketch and the perfect drawing on a single sheet of watercolor paper. That extra line work could be fun in these twirling elements up here too. So let me just play with it a little bit. Like if I just followed one of these. Was it this one? I think so. And then this one here. And then maybe this one? Yeah. I'm not sure. Suddenly they all look the same. Oh my god, I got a cat that's begging to be locked in from the garden. Wait a minute. Okay, so the cat came in. Well, as you guys can see, I got some sort of a flower right there, and I would love if this border had some colors in it. So I'm thinking I should freehand sketch some selected areas where there could be some flowers. It doesn't have to be a lot, maybe just what are the rules about an uneven number, right? So if I go for three flowers in each section, that would be the goal. So I just want to freehand sketch because that's just likable for me. That takes off the pressure of having it to be perfect somehow. And then Bob Owen taught me that if you do something on a mandala, you should immediately do the same in all the spaces, because otherwise you would skip one. You would miss. It's easier to miss if you think you can do a lot of drawings, like 5, like if I did all 3 here and all 3, it's, yeah, I can't think and draw at the same time. Oh my god. This is even a recorded, so I should like totally edit this rambling out. Okay, we got one flower down, and then maybe up here somewhere it would be nice. And I'm just working with the flower bud itself, because I did not think about leaves at this point, but definitely let's see when we put in some colors if a green leaf would be too disturbing. It would be right here. And they are like turning a specific way, so now we want something here in the center that's going the opposite way, just to break up that pattern. Oh my god, that's really a bad flower I got going on here. That was like not the best. Something is missing here. Is it this? Okay, so here we have to have an opposite flower going this way. Isn't it fun how I was just talking about the importance of doing one thing at a time, and then I missed a flower? That's just proving Bob Owen's point, right? That's a weird one. And this one here. Okay, let's get some colors down before we put any more line work. I love the part where we need to do some watercoloring. Well, I would love to have a color in this flower, and I'm thinking up here I should have a color that's kind of lavender, because I got some lavender hues. So if I start putting in the lavender color, let's see, once again, it's gonna be a little bit sloppy. Am I in frame? Almost. I got some broken up lines here, so I think my petal could be the item that's broken up the lines, and I'm just going with this weird puddle to begin with. It's just a starter, right? I'm doing this because I know squat about botanical. Yes, I got a garden, but I know nothing about flowers. So I always feel a pressure whenever I have to add a flower in some of my drawings, because I don't know. I don't want to try and make a real life flower because people might think that I did a sloppy job, or I don't know, my inner critic just fear that people would point at it saying that that's not how a rose looks, you know. I've been battling about learning how to do roses for quite a while, and I think I fail all the time. So I tend to gravitate toward imaginary flowers because it kind of takes the pressure of having to perform a real life flower, if it makes any sense. Maybe you guys have the same. Okay, this flower right here should have the same color as this flower here. And I originally want to make it red. I want to introduce that red to the painting. My favorite color is red, so it's always a joy for me to have the opportunity to dip into a palette in a red pan. So immediately I just give all the flowers a coat of red, and then when it dries, it's just a light color coat. So when it dries, I can see where I can come back and then give an extra coat to the flowers that are like more in shadow or not. Or maybe I just like that first coat. Oh, this is nice. It's a very, very likable red. I love the color palette in this palette. It's like, it's what they, I think, would call convenience pans because they are pre-mixed. So it's one of the first times where I feel that I can like dip and go, if you know what I mean. And I think that Kuretake Gansai Tanbei paint, which is a long name, but it's basically just mean watercolors from the manufacturer Kuretake. But I think his palettes are produced for working straight out of the pan, like not so much mixing. Some of them, not this palette, but the original palette is getting a little bit like a lacquered sheen when you layer them up too much. Yeah, this should dry. While it's drying, I'm just gonna go in and get the original palette since I mentioned it, because yeah, there might be someone thinking, what is that? This is what I would call my original Kuretake Gansai Tanbei palette. Dang, that's a long name. It's dirty because I in the heat of the moment while I was jelly printed, needed a space to layer up my stencils where they could dry. So it doesn't come with this kind of mess on top of it. It was very nice and pristine when I got it. For me, this is a very well-loved palette, and I actually like it so much, so I am pondering about getting, when this is used up, which by the way can take a lot of time because they are very potent, so you only need to dip your brush. It picks up and release colors very fast. They got a different binder in them, so if you layer them up too thick, too hard, they may show some sort of a sheen. I think I tried to avoid it on my swatch card, but maybe, and I don't think it shows up on this video, but maybe you can see here where I layered several times that there is this kind of glossy, like this glossy sheen to it, which I prefer not to have when I'm painting with them. So I totally understand why people talk about this paint as being a one layer fun art tool that you can use. I once did a light fastness test on this paint and it held up superb, like perfectly. So I would totally rate it as a top-notch student grade. I even would go as far as say artist grade, because it's very light fast, it's very well pigmented, and they mix clean within each other, which means that most of these pans look dark and black, but that's actually because they're so super transparent. I really like it a lot. But what I wanted to say is that this palette is a special Art Nouveau color selection, so there is a lack of certain colors in this one. For instance, it's just an example. You got some shimmery parts down here, black, a very dark umber, and this palette here kind of lacks those really dark colors. So if you're not into mixing your own darks, it's good to have this as a backup. But I really think that these two palettes complement each other so perfectly, because there's not like one color that's doubled in the other palette, so you really get different pans. And the yellows in these set is very weird. It's actually only this one up here, so you got your yellows over here. So yeah, I don't know, maybe yellow isn't that used color in Art Nouveau. Maybe that's why they opt for this very bright saffron yellow that kind of looks a little bit like, I don't know, like an azo yellow green. But if you want like pure reds, pure yellow, this is such a good way to get it. There's a lot of blue colors in this original set, and they are smooth and lovely, but you know what, the blues in this set is just so yummy. Oh my god. And then I also got that like blue greenish pants. So yeah, enough about the set. Now this up here have to dry, so I just think that I'm gonna give it a minute and then come back when it's dry. Okay, it's dry. I want to make the same as I did here, and what I did back then was that I took some blue and just scribbled it on. Not really anything precisely. And then I went over it with a transparent wax crayon that I got from a set that I bought from Jane Davenport called Power Pastels. And If you don't have that, I think you can use China marker that's white, looking like this. Or if you're out of that, I had a comment on my live stream where someone reminded me that, hey, you can just go take a wax candle that's clear, you know, white wax candle. Don't have to be, you know, a clear. Do we even have clear candles? I don't think so. Take a wax candle and then do some mark making on top of it. All you want and is going for is some sort of resist, so that hopefully watercolor would peel off it when it's applied on top of it. So I think I will just experiment a little bit with these flowers here. Just do some scribbling on, I think, the top petals, and try and layer on a different color on top of it. Oh man, this is fun. It's fun for me because I don't really know the result, because it's transparent, so you can't really see what's happening. And I'm just picking a color, so let's test it out. If it will somehow add a different texture. I think it will. I mostly do stuff and then watch how it looks when it's dry. Sometimes it's difficult to see what happened while it's wet. So I just apply it loosely on top. Love this random, you know, just kind of messy, sloppy application, because it takes the pressure off doing something really neat, you know. I think I should try and drop in a darker shade. I got that lavender, just to see what happens just around the center maybe. Oh, it's probably not gonna dry up nice. I might regret this. But if you do something one place, do it a lot of other places, then it looks like you meant it. So I'm just gonna wait for it to dry up and see how it works. And then when it's dry, I just scribble on top of the blue marks with the wax crayon. Just like random scribble, no straight lines, just almost like a circular, and I press a little bit hard to make sure that I actually leave some sort of wax residue on the paper. And then I go on top of it and I will try and hit that same color that I used here. I think it's that one actually. And I like to do like a saturated application on the top. And a little bit down the side, and then I rinse my brush, and then drag down the color. And I think it makes it's easier to meet the petals of the flower, so I don't have to worry about having to draw around that flower petal shape too much. Whatever I can do to make it easier for myself, I do. So apply some color, rinse the brush. I like to see how it dries up and how the pigments decided to land. So I try to brush over the whole area with the wax crayon, because maybe you find some specks of paper that is still poking through the wax, and it gives a nice look. Here I think I used that blue over here. So just put it up here. I was thinking that I just want now to do a lot of scribbles, doodles and stuff, and it might be a little bit boring for you guys to watch, so I think that I would end this video now, and then in the beginning of this video I will show the finished page. But my goal by making this upload was to bring you along on the work with the borders, you know, these black things here. I do think that it still needs something. So if you watched this far, I would just like to say thank you so much. One of my best subscribers who watched to the bitter end. But basically, I think it's so interesting to follow along when people are doing page spreads, you know, and it's sometimes sad not to see them finished, so sometimes people are working on them afterwards, and I totally understand why. But I was just thinking maybe I should film this, and then in case you guys think that that was a cool idea, let me know, because I'm a little bit afraid that it's super boring to watch. And then on the other hand, I think I would have loved to see people finishing off their page spreads. So it's you know, what to do. So, but definitely I want to come in with pen work, doing some dots in these centers, maybe using some gel pens, and then I might consider to make some leaves here. I'm glad that I stopped adding on, because now I got the whole colors blocked in, and then I can see that maybe it will ruin the simplicity of the design if I come in with leaves here. And it's always, you know, I keep overworking things, so I think I will not add more. But isn't it just damn tempting to make like some sort of leaf, you know, it's entangling in and out of these line work here. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it will just make the design look heavy, so I'm gonna refrain from that. But I'm going to show in a second the finished spread, and then also do it in the beginning. So yeah, so I think I would say it's done now. I like it a lot. Maybe I can lift up the journal so we can see one page at a time on the screen. Oh, yeah, it was a little bit excessive journal spread, so I'm only glad that it's finished and I can flip the page. You know that stage when you have been watching a drawing for too long time and then you just want to move on. That's where I am right now, because I feel that I'm gonna overdo it, because it's so fun. I could put like golden dots in the center of these circles here. I could just keep on and on and on, you know. I have to stop somewhere. So yeah, I'm just gonna call this done, and then Thank you guys for following along. I will try and include you more in these drawings because I could tell on my live stream that you guys like, you know, just like me, like that Art Nouveau style. It's very delicious, feminine, and there's so many elements. You can like doodle, and you can do borders, and you can do a lot of mandala shapes. And plus there are these ladies that there's a ton of reference pictures out on the internet, and most of them are done in profile, so it just reminds me of a coloring book page. So I even think that if you have a woman that you like the posture of in a coloring book page, that you might even be able to trace it over and then build up all this craziness around her. So sky's the limit. Thank you guys for watching along. I wish you a nice week.